Don't give up on the battle, baby. It's hard, I know.
I've been wanting to make a video on this topic for a really long time now, but I'm glad I waited as more and more people are coming to the channel because I want this to reach as many different people that watch me as possible, and it's going to be addressing a comment that I get quite frequently, which is, you are too hard on yourself. And usually this revolves around me talking about my strength levels or when I have a bad workout, and someone will say, you know, you're doing great, you're trying really hard, you know, just stop being so hard on yourself. And I guess I want to break this down into a few parts. And the first thing I want you guys to understand is that even though I love this, you guys can tell, I mean, I have a YouTube channel dedicated to strength training and nutrition, so this is a huge part of my life. However, this does not define me, so I do not pride myself on what I do in the gym. There are a lot of different things that I do well, a lot of good things about me, so if I'm not the best lifter in history, I'm okay with it. The reason I say that is because I don't want you guys to think I'm sitting around my house every day crying myself to sleep. I've got all these self-esteem issues because I'm not an Olympic athlete. It is not like that at all. Obviously, I want to be as strong as possible with the time and resources that I have available to me, but I also don't want you guys to think that I'm saying these things in hopes that you guys leave comments like, oh no, you're doing great, and it's almost like that person that's always like, oh, I'm so fat, and hoping that someone will tell them that they're not. It's just, this is the way that I look at things. I've been training for about 10 years, I'm 25 years old, and I am not that strong. I am not that great of a lifter. And I know in the politically correct world we live in that sometimes that is frowned upon and everyone is the exact same and everyone should get a trophy, but I just do not view things that way. I think political correctness does a disservice to everyone involved, and I just call things how I see them. And like I said, I'm not like depressed over it. I'm very okay with it. I'm just a realist. So when I say things that might sound like I'm putting myself down, it's really just me admitting that I've got a lot of things to work on, and I've got no problem with that. I've always been of the belief that you're gonna be your own worst critic, so I'd much rather be like this than to be that type of person who's like, nope, I'm doing everything great, I don't need to work on anything, because let's face it, we all have things that we can improve on. And really, to understand this completely, I think you're gonna have to just know a little bit more about me and my personality. So I am gonna take you guys down memory lane, probably get more personal in this video than 99% of my other videos, starting when I was a young kid. Growing up, I was in love with basketball. It is all that I ever wanted to do. I still remember having countless fights with my parents when it was negative 10 degrees outside, and all I wanted to do was go outside and shoot. And when I wasn't outside playing, I was inside watching Michael Jordan videos, studying every little thing he was doing, convinced that one day I was gonna be Michael Jordan. I'm sure a lot of us had that same dream. So all throughout my childhood, when I got to middle school, high school, and by the time I got to high school, you would think that I would have been an all-star, right? But when I got there, I wasn't even that good. And I always joked around with people.
No new friends, no new friends, no new friends, no.
People, when they asked me what position I played, I would tell them third left, and they would be like, what is third left? And I would be like, the third seat to the left of the assistant coach, because I rode the bench a lot, which doesn't make much sense when you think about all the time and effort I put into it, especially in high school when the coach would jokingly make an offer saying, hey, if anyone wants to come in and run and lift and practice with me at 5 a.m., I'll be there. And, you know, obviously no one showed up except me. I was that guy that was in high school at 5 a.m. practicing a little bit more, conditioning just a little bit more than everyone else, just trying to progress as much as I could. And looking back, some people might think that, wow, if you weren't that good and you didn't play a lot, then you might be a little bit disappointed. And obviously, you know, you're gonna be a little disappointed because you want to be as good as you possibly can be, but I don't regret it for a second. think about how bad I would have been if I didn't put in all that extra time and all that extra effort. I probably wouldn't have even made the team, so I have no regrets about putting in all those extra hours. It really did help develop a work ethic that I've taken with me throughout the course of my life. So after I finished playing basketball, I moved my focus to my education, and anyone that knows me in real life can attest to this. I was that guy that would lock himself in his room for countless hours and just study his life away. And I am not advocating that you guys do this. I did not have a good balance on things whatsoever, but I could do a whole video on that. But in college especially, I was just focused on being the best student I could be, learning as much as possible, hoping to get the best job that I could possibly get. And I still remember taking this financial derivatives class when I was in undergrad, and it was a graduate course, but of course the academic advisors told me, like, if you want to take it as an elective, go ahead. And the first test, I got a 98% out of 100, and it was because of the first question on the test. It was derive the put call parity. I'll never forget this, and I was like, derive? That's pretty subjective. So I wrote down what I thought she was asking, but it wasn't exactly what she wanted. I missed 2 points, and I was like, what the heck? Not that it even mattered. A 98 is the exact same A as 100, but I went to her office and was like, hey, you know, this is an unfair question. I need these 2 points back. And just think about how ridiculous this is. And in hindsight, I know that, guys, but I tell you that story to just give you guys some background on how obsessive I actually was. But I did well. Thankfully, I was a much better student than I was athlete. So I got into graduate school, and in the 6 months between undergrad and grad school, my entire life changed. You hear the saying that, you know, your life did a 180. Well, that does not even do it justice. Literally, everything about my life was different except for this obsession with progression. I still had it. It was ingrained in my mind, and this does have a lot to do with how I was raised. It's just something that I have always been brought up by, this saying that hard work pays off, and I believe that wholeheartedly. So the fact that I picked this as my hobby, something that I can measure objectively and continue to strive to progress in, is not a surprise whatsoever. It's very in line with my interest and just the way that I am. So I hope this was interesting to some of you, just learning a little bit more about me and where I'm coming from. And if it does sound like I'm hard on myself, it's really just my desire to progress, and it's not a confidence issue where I just hate my life. I'm alright, guys, but I appreciate your concern anyway. So please like the video if you enjoyed it. I know that this was a little bit different, but I figured it would be good just to get out there, and hopefully moving forward you guys can kind of see my perspective on things. So that is going to be the end of the workout commentary. I will be back to making fun of myself and Rich Homie Quan references in the next video. See you guys.